Okay, we are live. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Salatu salamu ala Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Amma ba'd. Sheikh Bilal, I think it's the second time now we've met for one of these reminders. Barakallah feek for turning up. How are you doing? You okay?
Alhamdulillah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Dawood. Mashallah, the days are going fast, and we're on day 14 of Ramadan already, almost halfway. Allah says, Ayyam and Ma'dudat, just a numbered days, a few days. This is, it feels like, one of the signs at the end of time is really that things are just moving so quickly. Inshallah.
Yeah, it feels like we spend so much time longing for Ramadan to come, and when it comes here, it goes too quick to even, savor the days. And so it's this constant wanting and then regret that you didn't make the most of it,
Yeah. Mashallah. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows us to benefit from what's remaining of Ramadan. And obviously the most important part of the last 10 nights as well. Laylatul Qadr, inshallah ta'ala.
Inshallah. So, Sheikh, has there been anything going on in your world that you've kind of been thinking about, maybe ruminating on recently?
I wanted to speak about objectiveness, really, because this is fiqh answers, actually. Objectiveness in terms of legal rulings. So, what we've sometimes we find that scholars are not objective in issuing legal rulings, and that's based on the biases that they already have and prejudice that they already have and things that are maybe already ingrained in them. I'm guilty of it as well. So, to make clear, sometimes we try to mold the Quran and the Hadith to fit our viewpoint.
Yes.
Instead of using the Quran and Hadith to form a viewpoint.
It's very hard to subjugate the aql with the text, right? Because as humans, we want to rationalize everything. And also, and I can't remember who said this to me. Sometimes we build a picture of, let's say, for example, Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have a picture of what he would look like or how he would act, and then a hadith comes, it contradicts our own personal imaging of it, and we almost find it a little bit hard to approach. It's almost contradictory. We don't like it almost. So this is an important topic, I suppose. How do you strive to be more objective in these things? So that's the question.
Yeah. So it's we have to remove our preconceived biases when we're doing research, and our own inclinations as well. Just try to objectively find the truth. There is a narration which is weak in its individual chains, but collectively it's acceptable narration, which says man qala fil Qur'ani bi ra'yihi falyatabawwa maq'adahu min an-nar. That whoever starts speaking about the Quran from his own opinion, then let him take his seat from the hellfire. What Imam Ghazali says, it doesn't mean that you can't do tafsir of the Quran. That hasn't been transmitted, because even the companions, they did their own tafsirs on the Quran in reality when you look at what they said. That weren't from the Messenger of Allah, were attributed to the Messenger of Allah. So that's fine. But he says the actual problem is when you're trying to make the Quran fit your desires or your whims or your opinion that you already have. So sometimes we see that happening, like, the feminist movement. Okay, there may be female scholars who have been influenced by feminism. I'm not saying that feminism is bad or that's a different topic, but they may be influenced by that, and then they try to fit the texts in with their feminist understanding of the world, or their feminist viewpoint.
We saw
Or
a
maybe Sufism, let's say Sufis, I don't have any problem with the Tasawwuf and Sufis, but there are Sufis that try to fit the text to
what they want.
to meet their own view. Imam Ghazali gives an example. Imam Ghazali, you could say that he's a Sufi as well. So he gives an example of people using the hadith, تَسَحَّرُوا فَإِنَّ فِي السُّحُورِ بَرَكَةً, that have suhoor because there's barakah in suhoor. So he says it's like people who use this hadith to say, to encourage people to making istighfar and dhikr before Fajr time, at that time. And then they pull out this hadith. Don't Nasiwa said this. The hadith is about eating, not about
they kind of co-opt
making
it and they go,
using the hadith to suit to support your viewpoint.
no.
Or اذهب إلى فرعون إنه طغى. The Quran is go to Pharaoh because he's exceeded all limits.
It's transgressed. Yeah. I see. Yeah.
And then
This is
the heart and say this is the nafs.
Oh, okay.
Pharaoh.
Wait, they say اذهب إلى فرعون إنه طغى is about the nafs. This is a person. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
so it's a metaphor for the nafs.
Okay. Okay.
So things like that, and not being objective when we're looking at rulings is a problem.
We have this thing too in the modern day where you can kind of fatwa shop around too. It's like if I want to find a fatwa that's what I agree for, I'm not looking for the answer to the question. I'm looking for the answer that I like. So you can go to 1,000,001 different resources, and eventually you might find someone on Reddit, some Islam answers website, Islam QA or something like this, and you think, yes, this is what I want, and so I'm going to take this. It's a dangerous thing, it's hard.
It is, yeah, and need to be very careful that we're not trying to get the Quran, Hadith, even the statements of the ulama in the books of jurisprudence to meet our views. And one of the biggest problems is trying to find out the illah of a hukm. So one of the biggest problems is we don't understand the illah of a particular ruling. So the legal maxim is that al-hukm yaduru ala illatihi adaman wa wujudan wa adaman. Sorry, that the ruling, legal ruling, revolves around its illah, its the cause. It revolves around the cause. In its presence and absence. So if the illah is present, that means that the ruling will be present, that the ruling will be valid. If that meaning, if that cause is absent, then the ruling doesn't come into play here. So this is something sometimes missing from modern discourse amongst the ulama. Sometimes they just pull up old book of fatwa from 500 years ago, like Fatawa Hindi or whatever, and toss the ruling out without actually understanding why.
There's a problem with location. Sorry, I was just saying there's a problem with location, with timing, with relevancy, with the political status, the economic status of the country. Like these things are all going to affect a ruling when it comes to a certain thing or a prohibition or an allowance, right? And so, like you said, we can pick up Majmu al-Fatawa, a fatwa given 400 years ago, and say, okay, this is me now. I'm going to apply this in the UK.
I'm said it there, that's it. There's nothing more to it, and the ruling does. Many of these rulings they change as well. It's like we know with Abu Hanifa, his students Abu Yusuf and Imam Muhammad, they disagreed with him on many things. And sometimes it's merely just because the times changed.
I'll say this now, though. I think
horse meat in the Hanafi school. To give an example, Abu Hanifa says that he had the view that it was prohibited to eat horse meat.
Okay.
His two companions said, no, it's halal. So this is something quite, severe. It's difference between halal and haram. Me,
And you're
so
going against Sahabas, you're going against companions. You're not just going against your fellow scholars. You're going against people that were, they are examples for us.
yeah, it's something
Hmm.
huge. But they understood that the reason why Abu Hanifa said it was prohibited, and some other scholars, I guess they extrapolated the reason, or they said the reason why Abu Hanifa said it is because the horses were scarce and they were being used in battle.
Yes, yeah,
They'd
yeah.
be used in battle, or they had a particular honor that was being used in battle. That meaning didn't exist in the time of Abu Yusuf Imam Muhammad, so they said it's fine.
Hmm.
So they said that horse meat is fine.
So
So
this is a really
it's
good
important for us
example.
to understand why
Hmm.
that alim has said that, and what context was he living in when he
Yeah,
said
and
it.
what does that mean for the rest of the people following this? Because
Exactly.
it doesn't maintain itself continuously. It's for a particular. Okay, subhanallah, this is interesting.
Even before that, there's actually doing proper tasawwur, what
Hmm.
conceptualization
Yeah,
of the issue that they're talking about.
in order
So,
to
for
best
example,
understand
there's
it. Right.
yeah, what is actually going on
Yeah.
for the in their society, and what is the situation that they're talking about. Abu Hanifa, he mentions that about women leaving the house, for example, and
Hmm.
attending the congregational prayers. Okay, and he doesn't like that, and then you have Abu Yusuf. He said no, it's okay
Hmm.
for older women to go.
No,
And the scholars, and they're saying because the times are corrupt, it wasn't safe
it's
for women
different
to
time.
go.
Yeah,
Imams were getting assassinated in the prayer whilst leading the prayer.
yeah.
It wasn't safer even for women to go. There were
So
concerns. There were
here's a
concerns
question.
around it. So not understanding why the Imam has said it,
Yeah, yeah.
or why,
There's a
why
bit of
is he even
disagreement.
contradicting the Hadith? Hadith says don't prevent the women from the slave women of Allah from going to the masajid.
No.
How can he contradict a clear Hadith? The times were different. Certain things were going on. Safety of civil wars, or people coming into the deen.
Mhm.
So the one thing is conceptualizing actually the era that they were living in, what they were actually experiencing, for them to actually say that. And the second thing is finding out the reasoning behind
Mhm.
it. And
MashaAllah.
sometimes it's lost. Sometimes it's lost with the ulama. They just throw out rulings. That's one thing. And then you have, other groups as well, or even ulama. They're trying to actually find things that actually suit the
Yeah.
view that they already have. So
They go
instead
on
of
expedition searching for what they need,
yeah,
yes.
instead of doing research, when you're researching, the whole point is that you're trying to find the truth, and that's what
Mhm.
our mujtahid imams did.
Yeah.
May Allah bless them and have mercy
Ameen.
upon them. They spent their entire lives just trying to find out what does Allah actually want from us,
Mhm.
without any prejudice, without any bias, in an objective manner. And when we're doing research, it has to be completely objective.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
like Socrates says, it's you're following the truth wherever it may lead you.
Mhm.
It may lead you to, actually, I was wrong for 20 or 30 years. And what my teachers told me was wrong as well.
It's a hard
It
thing to
leads,
accept.
it is a hard thing to accept.
Yeah.
And there's some seminaries as well, Muslim seminaries, they get
Mhm.
drilled every single day that you cannot contradict the Akabir, you cannot contradict your elders,
Yeah.
you cannot contradict the ulama that went before you. That
Yeah.
gets drilled into them.
Do you think this is problematic, this mentality?
Definitely problematic.
Don't question your sheikh. Don't contradict your sheikh. Don't
Yeah,
ask for why. Just follow and understand.
exactly. Yeah. Like
Mhm.
some Sufi tariqas as well. They have the same.
Yeah.
It's not just in circles of fiqh.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, this, we hear like disciples of Sufi sheikhs.
Mhm.
If the sheikh tells you to jump out of an airplane, then you do
They
it.
say, do they do it? Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
You have to do it. That's the
Yeah.
extent you follow the sheikh. If
No,
you say jump, you say how high. That's it. You
this
don't
is
question.
this is a worrisome thing, you know, and I think a lot of, especially like I don't know about your kind of journey into Islam, like especially for some new Muslims, when you hear these concepts of, you know, submit
Mhm,
to your sheikh, follow your sheikh,
mhm,
it gets
mhm,
concerning, you know, give bay'ah to your sheikh. And I'm
mhm.
thinking, you know, this is
It's
something, especially for new Muslims, it's a really concerning thing because I hate to say it, but they see the remnants of Christianity in this mentality.
mhm,
You
mhm.
understand what I mean? Follow
Yeah, yeah,
your church father, and that's it. You know, he is almost what the Christian concept. They're appointed by God on earth, so they can make legal rulings on behalf of God.
that's
This
right.
mentality of follow your sheikh, follow their awliya, their friend of Allah. We know this for certain, and so and there's a like, you know, there's a hesitancy there. There's a
It's really,
fear.
yeah, it's really, really problematic. And like I don't necessarily have a, as long as there's no extreme statements, I have a problem
Mhm.
with someone just following a sheikh. But
Yeah, no, of course not.
when you are rejecting, it's when you're rejecting other ulama as well.
Yeah, or
Like,
hundreds and
well,
thousands of years
only
of
only my
following
sheikh
his
is
word.
only my sheikh is on the haq, and no other
No,
opinions are valid, and
no.
no other sheikhs have as much knowledge as my sheikh. That's when it becomes it becomes problematic.
There's a, I think there's a preying on this. Like, look, when it comes to matters of fiqh, to be a muqallid is fine. To be a blind follower is fine. In essence, if you know, as long as you have your obligatory knowledge, I know how to pray, I know how to
Mm,
fast, and the basics, right? When it comes to our, you know, if I go to the masjid and say, Sheikh, are my hands going here, my hands here, my, you know, this is fine for me to not
mm,
do my in-depth research on it. But
yeah,
then there's a level where it comes further and further and further, and it starts going beyond like just legal rulings to then how to mold your character and how to conduct yourself, and then who your role models are, and this
mm,
kind of like following in the footsteps of your sheikh. And really, we want to follow in the footsteps. We want to emulate the best of all creation,
messenger of Allah,
Nabi
alayhi salatu
Muhammad
wasalam.
sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You know what I mean? Like this is, and I feel like yeah, for new Muslims, it's a really big challenge for them to get over. I think
Yeah,
as far as Sufi groups, look, they do great stuff. You know, I think everyone should try and aspire to increase your love for Muhammad
mm,
sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There's no doubt about that. But for new Muslims, I think, and, you know, so some of these extreme groups, you have to be very cautious because they will lead people straight out of Islam because they'll see stuff and I think this is like the churches.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right. And the ummah is vast. We've got
Mhm.
like a wealth of scholarship.
No.
We've got a wealth of pious people. To restrict it, to one,
One,
two scholars.
crazy.
Well, I'm only going to follow these two scholars from the 8th century after Hijrah, and that's it.
But Sheikh
you know,
Bilal, you don't get it. I've
Everything
seen
else is irrelevant.
karamat, I've seen miracles. You don't get it, Sheikh Bilal. It's my Sheikh has done karamat in front of me. You know, this is the, I hate to say it, this is the mentality, right?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine, but there's many other shuyukh that do karamat as well.
Yeah, yeah,
He's
of
not the
course.
only one. He's not the only one that Allah's blessed
Mashallah.
with piety and knowledge. And
No,
not just Sufis. You have other groups that hell bent on following just one group of imams.
no.
And no, but everybody else must be wrong. Like
I think
they're the asl of Islam, and
mhm,
you know, uh, uh, it's really, really, really. We
yeah.
need to be more open minded. We need to be more objective,
Mhm,
and ask ourselves: Are we actually? I'm actually trying to get the Quran and the
mhm.
Hadith and the opinions of the ulama to fit into my
In my opinion, no.
mold, or am I molding myself into what those scholars have actually said?
This is, you know, this is what I had a particular liking towards Islam Answers, and I ended up doing, you know, these live streams. Is I can't argue at all with someone saying we follow the three best generations and the classical scholars. And
Mhm.
with that, you don't have to, you know, it doesn't mean we reject modern scholars. It doesn't mean, oh, you know, this scholars, it doesn't mean we go about removing people from what is the criteria of a good person or knowledgeable person. But as far as
Mhm.
when it comes to matters of the deen, we just stick to the ones that there's no discussion of whether or not it's accepted or not. As long as
Yeah,
there's ijma on a person, then you know, okay, I'm happy here.
yeah,
If I
yeah,
say An Nawawi, Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, rahmahullah. Like if I say these names, no one's going to say, you shouldn't be following this, unless they're, probably Shia or Ahmadi, right? Okay. But like, as long as you can say that and there's no one going to dispute on it with you, I feel like that's such a safe position to be in. You can say, okay, I'm not too concerned about accidentally going the wrong way, because at least I'm following the people that everyone agrees is, there's a consensus.
Yeah. Even if, they don't, as long as it's, you're following somebody who's making valid ijtihad.
Yeah.
And you're not condemning others for not following them.
So Sheikh, it's very easy though. I hate to say it.
It's not fair to say I'm a Shafi, but condemning, Hanafi for
Hanafis
or reciting behind the Imam, that's wrong.
It's interesting.
He would say that, رأي صواب يحتمل الخطأ ورأي كل خطأ محتمل يحتمل الصواب. That my opinion is correct. Meaning, I believe my opinion is correct. There's a possibility it may be wrong. There's always a possibility it may be wrong. And I believe that your view is wrong, but there's a possibility that it may be correct.
It may be correct, mashallah. Takes a lot of humility. I think that the problem is, though, Sheikh, is oftentimes, especially for new Muslims, when we go to define what we are, sometimes we go by defining what we aren't. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so if I want to be certain what I am, I'm going to say, okay, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not that, I'm not that. So that leaves, like, I'm going to deduce on what remains after it. And you said it, we've got to be very careful not to go about and to say, he's a mubtadi, he's a kafir, he's, like this kind of mentality. But when you define yourself by what you aren't, you fall into that slippery slope very quickly. You know what I mean? So it's a tricky thing.
Yeah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us, and we pray that our ulama are more objective in their views. And when we pray that we're more objective, and that it's the dua, isn't it? The Allahumma arina al-haqqa haqqa wa zuqna ittiba'a. It's a beautiful dua, the Messenger of Allah. Allah shows the truth as the truth is, and grant us the following of it. Grant us the following of it.
This is
batila warzuqna shinaba, and show us falsehood as falsehood truly is, and allow us to avoid it. That's what we need.
I mean, this is very important. I think one of the things that's very hard is it's very easy to accept the truth, but it's very hard to admit when you're wrong. So that which is batil, like you said, we ask Allah to show us that it's falsehood.
Yeah.
And easy for us to accept that it's falsehood, right? Because this is a hard thing.
Yeah. Accepting of it is a very, very difficult thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increases in wisdom and understanding, and we'll end there, inshallah. And
Barakallahu feek, Sheikh. I appreciate your time a lot. This is a great conversation. I didn't quite know what topic you want to go on today, but Jazakallah khair. It's a very good topic, and I feel like we could talk about this for a couple of hours. So I appreciate that.
In that topic. Jazakallah khairan. Allah bless you. Thanks for having me on.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.